here with Newport Central Catholic football coach Eddie Eviston in his first year. Coach, you guys are ranked #1 in the state. We're getting down. You guys kind of in the middle of district play. We're getting down towards the end of the season. At what point do you start scouting teams downstate, or have you already started?
Yeah, we're kind of getting to that point right now. We're kind of checking out the different regions, especially in the earlier playoff rounds in this east side of the state, and just kind of checking out who we think we might run into. So we are trying to put some things together to start scouting some games. But we are very fortunate that we have a bye week coming up this week, to where we have some time to actually go out and see how these teams are. See how these teams are playing.
Yeah, you're past the halfway point of your first year. What's the biggest lesson you learned so far?
Oh well, there's so many lessons I've learned. I tell you, it's I've had a really good time with this, but I've also learned a lot in these past few months. So, as I'm sure as many veteran head coaches will tell you, and they always tell the younger coaches that that's a lot more than the X's and O's that you have to deal with, and that hit me like a like a wall. So
yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is just some of the stuff that you have to do as a head coach outside of the football field. So I've learned a lot from that. Obviously, I always learn when you're on the football field, I think, and that's a continuous learning environment. So we've learned a lot of things. So but it's been fun.
What's the biggest change you've made?
What's that?
What's the biggest change you've made?
I don't know if I've made too many changes. Really, again, when I got this job, I knew I was coming into an environment where the tradition's established. We're doing the program's headed in the right direction. We're doing things the right way. So, I don't want to say there's many changes I had to make or did make. Really, I feel like I did kind of. So far I put a stamp on kind of my coaching methods and what I expect out of these kids, and I don't know if it's that big a change compared to what they're used to or what Newport Catholic's used to, but hopefully we see the fruition of what we're trying to do come out in the end of the season.
Are you less cool now as the head coach, as opposed to being one of the younger, more relatable assistant coaches?
I guarantee I'm less cool.
Yeah.
I think sometimes even they see these young guys or these young players, they kind of sometimes look at me like, what's wrong with him today, and that's one thing that I knew that had to change, and they always say, every staff I've ever talked to, been around, or when they talk about it, it's like the head coach is never your friend. He's the guy. The assistant coaches are there to pick up the players and everything else, and the head coach has to kind of come down with the gavel, and and that's how it's been. And but it's funny you said, because I think some of these kids are always like, what's wrong with Coach Eviston today?
Yeah.
So, but that's fine. That's what we signed up for.
What in college at Georgetown, you ran kind of a wide open offense. I mean, how much? Obviously, you guys are running the ball really successfully this year. How much Georgetown stuff is in there, if any?
There's a lot. There's actually a lot. At the beginning of the season, I tried to want to kind of bring a hybrid to kind of what these kids have been used to, plus add in this new stuff with the things I learned at Georgetown. And I think it's been a kind of a different combination. And I think a lot of the verbiage is the same as that we used at Georgetown, but some of the concepts are the same things that they're used to, and there's a couple different concepts. So, we've had success running the ball, and I think, some of the Georgetown stuff is in there that people would recognize. And Georgetown had such success passing the ball, and I don't know if we're quite there yet with our passing game, but we practice it and we're working on it, and it's something that continues to be seen. Obviously, I don't feel like we have peaked offensively, which might be a good thing, but we're practicing really hard to make sure that we're a well-oiled machine when it comes to the offense side of the ball.
Yeah, you work in the development office here at school, and you're the head football coach. That said, you think New Catholic will ever have an on-campus football stadium?
Oh man, I would really, obviously I would hope so.
Yeah.
We started a master plan several years ago with our development committee to kind of look into those types of things, and with the master plan, you kind of put all your wishes kind of together, and that is a wish that was put together by parents, alumni, and everyone else that wanted to see that happen. So there is a kind of a master plan for it. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that have to be done before a football stadium is built here at school. But it's I think it would be great. I think it would be great for our community. I think it would be great for our athletics in general. So will it be done anytime soon? I'm not too. I'm not crossing my fingers on that, but it could possibly happen in the future.
Yeah. Another future question. You're also a Fort Thomas guy. You ever think Highlands will be back on the schedule? It used to be a pretty good rivalry.
I don't know. I don't know. You just never know with that. Especially with all the realignment stuff and all that stuff that's going on. You kind of gotta pick and choose who you're playing. And one thing, this past schedule really was kind of already set when I got the job. And one thing I noticed is we got a rough schedule up front. This first few weeks, and it was with the class size or the school size and everything else, you kind of got to watch that. And I think 1 year we might go 1-5, and next year we got 5-1. It really depends. So we kind of got to pick and choose who we play to try to make it as best for our team.
You mentioned the size of schools you guys have played out of district. Mostly bigger schools. You guys have handled them pretty well. And that said, you don't even have a very big, even for New Catholic, a very big roster. What's the difference been conditioning wise?
The biggest thing is, these kids bought into the fact that, many of them have to make sacrifices and be able to play both ways, be able to play special teams to really get this job done. We're very fortunate. We have very competitive kids, very good football players on our team that want to do it. And, right from the get-go in the summer, we explained to them that, they're going to have to do it, and we put them to work. And they've responded rather well. As you'll see on our roster, we have a lot of guys playing both ways, and and they're making plays on both sides of the ball. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd want to give those guys a break and make sure things maybe run a little bit more smoothly. When you transition from offense to special teams to defense, but that's the kind of the cards we've been dealt, and we're dealing with that, and for the most part, these kids are responding. Yeah,
one of those kids that's been able to play both ways at a pretty high level, Chris Kelly. How much are you guys going to lean on him down the stretch?
Chris is our workhorse, and we're going to need him. And I think there's been a few games this year. He has totally shined on both sides of the ball, and has done some great things for us. And and that's the guy we're going to need, especially when we get deep in the playoffs. You'll need a player like that. One, to establish the running game, which is so important. And when I think you get into the playoffs and you make a run for a state championship, plus you got to play good defense. And he's kind of the leader of both those things on both sides of the ball. So we are going to rely on him. And I think he knows he has some pretty good help around him with guys that can kind of take the load, especially running the ball and on defense. So I feel good that he knows that he's got some help, and that he can, if he does need a quick breather, he can get it. But Chris is a competitive kid. He's going to be out there as much as he can be.
Definitely. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.